I didn't help anybody bury KJ. Leroy hasn't killed anybody at my house.
Cassie Bach tenía 29 años y compartía su vida, su hogar y sus secretos con su novio, Leroy Crawford. Pero en ese pequeño apartamento en Texas también vivía un amigo, Carl Beeman, mejor conocido como KJ. Una convivencia que terminó de la forma más oscura imaginable. KJ no era un extraño, era alguien que confiaba en ellos. Sin embargo, tras una violenta disputa, la amistad se convirtió en asesinato. Lo que hace que este caso sea aterrador no es solo el acto de violencia, sino lo que sucedió después. Cassie decidió proteger a su novio, que había asesinado a su amigo. Juntos convirtieron su propio hogar en un cementerio improvisado. Aunque los detalles exactos de lo que se dijeron esa noche son borrosos, debido a las mentiras iniciales de los involucrados, la investigación reveló que la tensión explotó por un conflicto relacionado con el consumo y la desaparición de sustancias dentro del apartamento. Durante semanas, Cassie vivió sobre el cuerpo de KJ, oculto bajo las tablas del suelo, mientras mantenía una fachada de normalidad ante la policía. Pero hoy, en esta sala, esa fachada se va a agrietar. Verán cómo los detectives desmantelan sus mentiras paso a paso, hasta que la joven de 29 años no tiene más remedio que enfrentar lo que escondía literalmente bajo sus pies. Al final del caso sabrás las condenas que recibieron ambos, la resolución y cómo está el caso en la actualidad. Presta mucha atención a cada técnica que usan tanto los interrogadores como ella. Este video ha sido traducido, subtitulado y adaptado del inglés al español para que entiendas a fondo la magnitud de esta traición. Las partes más importantes han sido seleccionadas y al final del interrogatorio sabrás la resolución del caso, las consecuencias y cómo ha avanzado hasta la actualidad.
All right, Casey. Like I said, we can explain to you everything that we have going on, okay? I would ask you, I'd kind of like to open it up to you. Do you think that there might be a reason that you would have some detectives talking to you like this, asking you questions? No? Is there nothing you can think of at all?
I know that my children's father got arrested by Arapahoe County and is getting charged with charges that he did not commit. And I know that I live next door to National Security, and they have been drilling holes in my walls and spying on me. And I know that Aurora is not the kindliest for police brutality, making up stuff. I've been dealing with this for about a year. I'm a Colorado citizen, like born and raised here. This is my first time ever in Aurora, and it has ruined my life.
Okay. Has anyone treated you poorly today?
No.
Okay. Everybody's been respectful.
I've been respectful and just trying to get over with this.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Well, I'll just start by laying it out like this. We are part of the major crime section. Okay, we handle a whole gamut of crimes to include missing persons cases. There's been some information that we've received, and we have a search warrant for your apartment. We have a search warrant for your kind of part of your building as well. I'll kind of start by asking, who do you normally leave your kids with, or who do you?
I don't have anybody.
You don't have anybody? Okay. Is there somebody that you've left your kids with in the past?
Well, yeah, but
Okay. Who is that?
my mother.
Your mom. What about anybody locally or any friends of your
I
kids?
don't have anyone locally. My children don't have any friends here. I don't have any friends here. I keep to myself.
Mm-hmm. All right. So there's nobody that your kids stay with every once in a while or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Is there any reason somebody would tell us something like that?
I got a job a few months back. My daughter did have a friend at school, and I knew that she lived in the same apartment complex. So I walked up to this lady and asked if she could help me because I needed a babysitter. We became friends, and somebody broke her window, I'm guessing, here a few days ago, and she thinks it's me.
Okay. Why would she think it was you?
Because I just told her a few days prior, as I seen all these undercovers around to basically fuck off.
Oh, you told this person to fuck off. Okay.
And I told her to
What's
stay
her
away
name?
from me and my children.
Okay. What's her name?
Sierra.
Okay. So why did you tell Sierra to stay away?
Because I caught her in a lie.
And what was that?
Es fascinante observar cómo el cerebro bajo presión extrema recurre a teorías conspirativas, como los agujeros en las paredes, para desviar la atención de una realidad mucho más simple y macabra.
Something as simple as she wasn't in the back of her car when I seen her in the back of her car. If you're going to lie about one thing, what are you lying about?
What do you mean by that? She wasn't in the back of her car.
I seen her in the back of her car.
Okay.
And this day, there was a bunch of undercovers around outside. Like, I've been going through a lot for a year. Like I said, I'm not naive to what's around me. And I'm not naive to the world trying to set people up either. I'm just trying to keep me and my children safe.
And I understand that might be difficult. The father of your children, who is that? You said he's currently arrested. Can you tell me who that is?
Mr. Crawford.
Okay. And how long has he been in custody?
Almost a year now.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine that's very hard. We're not trying to make light of the situation. We're not trying to insult you. We're just trying to get some background, okay? And I'm just trying to have a conversation with you so I can get an understanding about you, okay? And I promise I'm going to get to the point here, all right? But I'm just trying to get some background information on you, and that way we can have a good conversation about this, all right?
Some background about me. Would you like to know the background?
Because I've never
about me?
met you before. That's why. And to have a conversation with you, I have to ask questions about you. Okay, so let's kind of back up to what's happened with you and Sierra over the past, I don't know, a couple weeks or whatever, when you told her to fuck off. Was there any specific, other than you saw these undercovers, was there any specific incident that made you feel like that, or was it just her being in the back of her car?
No, it was just her lying about being in the back of her car.
Okay. And that upset you because you thought there were police around the
No,
apartment?
there were police around.
Okay.
There was undercovers all over, and I didn't understand. And I don't know why she would lie to me about not being in the back of her vehicle when I, clear as day, was right behind her and seen it.
And why did that worry you?
Because I don't like being lied to, for one.
Okay. I mean, anything else? Did you think she was like working with the police, or did you think,
I mean, kind of. The only reason the girl puts stuff in the back of her car is to move car seats so all 4 children can fit in her vehicle.
when you say all 4 children, you mean
My children
your
and her
kids and her
children.
kids? Okay. How many times did she take your kids? Or
A few different times.
okay. Did they stay over there a fair amount?
Sometimes.
Was that when you were working?
I didn't work there long, so.
Okay. Okay. Well, part is that it sounds like you may have made some statements about somebody being buried in your apartment. Okay. I'm gonna cut to the chase. Okay. That's why we're here. That's why we ended up having a search warrant for the apartment. We also understand that the circumstances seem a little bit odd, which is why we're trying to be very accommodating to you. We're going to make sure your kids are taken care of, like all those things. You know, SWAT team didn't just blow the house open or anything like that. You know, we understand that it's kind of an odd situation, so that's why we're kind of, going about it the way that we are.
There's statements of what now? Of I've buried?
Not necessarily that you have buried, but we have heard that you made statements that there might be somebody buried in your apartment. More specifically, there's like a crawl space under your apartment.
There is a crawl space. I've locked it because I'm terrified of that.
Okay.
There's people who go under there all the time just messing with me and my kids.
Okay.
It's kind of scary.
Okay.
A backstory on me is in Arvada, I had doors kicked in my faces. I was almost killed by a Banditos biker. I came,
I'm sorry.
that's why the arrest warrants, those all happened in this same time of my life. Okay, I'm running. I ran to Aurora so nobody would find me as this man's about to get back out of prison. I had all sorts of people that have made me scared. I'm not just going to sit there and that's why I moved to Aurora. Like I said, I'm trying to stay low. I didn't let anybody know where I lived.
Okay. How about this? Can I show you another picture, and maybe you can tell me if you know this person?
Sure.
Okay.
It's KJ.
KJ. Okay. Do you know his? I recognize the name KJ. Do you know what his first name actually is?
Carl.
Carl. Do you know his last name?
Beeman.
Okay. How do you know KJ?
Me and Leroy used to stay with him a few years back when we were homeless.
Okay.
Him and Leroy were best friends.
They were best friends?
No, they are best friends.
When was the last time you saw KJ?
El narcisismo y el sarcasmo en un interrogatorio de asesinato son señales de una desconexión emocional profunda o un intento desesperado de mantener el control de la narrativa.
And again, I hate to just beat around the bush. I was hoping that, we could kind of talk about this a little bit more, but our concern is that KJ may have been killed and that Leroy might either have had something to do with it, might know something about it, something along those lines.
So it sounds like Arapahoe's trying to pin more murder charges on my children's father.
No, it doesn't have.
For his best friend.
It's Jefferson County, and this has nothing to do with Jefferson County.
Jefferson County isn't pressing the charges of the murder of the man who's still alive that Leroy supposedly shot.
The attempted murder. Yeah. It's Jefferson County that has the case. But I spoke with the detective today. But that being said, they don't have anything to do with this, okay? And we are merely just we are doing our very best to, if Carl's still alive, we would like to know where he is. If he's not, we would also like to know where he is. From what we've heard, there's a chance, and it's clear what I'm asking here. We're talking about your crawl space. We had information that he might be in the crawl space.
So the people who here recently have been under my crawl space and been playing frequencies that me and my children have heard and scaring the living daylights out of us, like, is anyone going to look at that then?
Well, as I mentioned, we have a search warrant, and we are going to look under there, okay? Right now, what we're doing is we're trying to make sure your dogs are okay, and we're trying to make sure your kids are okay, all right? So that's kind of our primary focus before we start digging around in there. But I'm talking to you because that could assist us, and that could preempt a lot of the I don't want to say destruction, but invasive work that we would have to do to go look at the crawl space. So these are obviously pretty specific allegations. We didn't just make this up. Okay, and that's why I'm being straight with you. I'm showing you these pictures. I'm asking you all this information directly. Okay, when we open the crawl space up, what are we going to find in there?
I don't know. I've never been under there.
Okay. Do you know if Leroy ever went under there? Okay. Would anyone else? Would KJ have had a reason to be under there?
I don't even think KJ knew where I lived.
Okay. I guess I would ask then, and I don't have the direct information what the child said, but they obviously said they were missing Uncle Carl, which you mentioned. Would that have been at a time before you lived in the apartment that they were used to seeing him around, or?
No, it's not. It's never been a frequent thing that KJ's been around.
And I understand young kids. Sometimes kids say things.
He's just an awesome person, dude. Even my children remember him for quite a few different reasons.
Okay. So would you call your relationship with between you guys close? Obviously close enough that your kids like him.
I guess. Yes, yeah.
Okay. And it's not strange to you that he's just vanished? Gone off the face of the earth?
I didn't know he was gone off the face of the earth. I don't keep track of my children's father's people.
Okay, well, you just said you hadn't seen him for this amount of time.
He's not my friend. He's not my friend.
But he's, as I mentioned before, he's close enough that your kids call him Uncle KJ.
Because he's my children's father's best friend.
Okay, I understand that. I'm just trying to connect.
I don't have friends in my life, so that means my children don't have people in theirs. So when a big fat man comes around and makes my children laugh, and dad's laughing with them, and they talk about and reminisce about times from 20 years back, like, of course my children are going to remember that.
So they see Dad happy, and they see Uncle KJ happy, and they
People don't visit us at our home. People have never visited us, so the very few people that have, my children remember.
So he did visit you at your home?
But now we're talking about 2020, dude.
Okay, we keep going backwards. I'm sorry, I can't keep
my
those years straight.
My children haven't seen him.
Casey, we have good reason to believe that Carl's dead and that you had a hand in burying him under your apartment.
You guys know how big this thing is, right?
You didn't do it alone, though. We have reason to believe you and Leroy took care of him after Leroy killed him in your apartment, and that you helped Leroy bury him beneath that crawl space.
Those are some pretty sick allegations, man.
Tell me about it. We have very good reason to believe that. Like Detective Chamberlain said, we've got a search warrant. We're going to go in there, and we're going to be finding out the truth.
The truth.
If Carl's in there.
My children's father is looking at homicide for a man that's alive. And Sierra helped me look at the papers. And it looks like when Leroy was sitting in this jail, when I couldn't find him anywhere, that Aurora did some pretty sketchy stuff. Because nothing on that case looks right. And now I'm hearing this.
I don't know anything about that case, Casey.
I know, but I do. And it's just
what
kind
we're
of
here
scary
today
that
for
now
this has nothing to do with that case.
I know, but
So don't bring it up. Stay focused. Okay?
I didn't help anybody bury KJ. I haven't seen KJ in forever. Leroy hasn't killed anybody at my house. I have children at my house.
Did Leroy kill Carl?
No. Why? How long has KJ supposedly been missing?
We're not going to tell you how long he's been missing. You've not asked us really anything about Carl, though.
That's what I'm asking, is how long you guys...
It's because you already know what's happened to Carl. You know he's dead. Okay? You haven't shown any concern since we started here that you care where Carl is, or do we have information on Carl? This man is like an uncle to your kids.
A man who has seen my children a few times.
You're the one who has described him as an uncle to your kids that makes them laugh. Okay?
I'm done talking.
He's like family.
I'm done talking. I was never allowed friends because of the relationship I was in. I'm done talking.
Well, that's fine for right now, and we're going to go ahead and go forward with our search warrant. All right? That being said, and you don't have to answer this at all, okay? You told Sierra that Leroy killed Carl and that he was buried under your apartment. Plain and simple. That's why we're here. Okay?
I told her this.
That's why we're here. Okay? And again, you don't have to say anything. All right? But that has been what has led us to this point. And every time we bring up the fact that he has been murdered and he is under your apartment, you get emotional. All right? You have an emotional response to that.
I'm sorry, I got emotional when I see my children's father's picture. That's emotional.
All right. Again, you didn't have. We're gonna take a little break here, okay?
A break. I'm done talking.
That's fine.
I'm done talking.
Okay, that's okay. And we're just gonna step out then. All right.
Los detectives utilizan la técnica de presentar la conclusión para observar la reacción visceral. El silencio o la indignación exagerada pueden ser igual de
You
reveladores.
guys know how to.
And as we mentioned, you just have this traffic warrant that will get you processed, and hopefully that'll be that, okay? Now, what I can tell you is we did make it into the crawl space, and we found more or less what we thought we would find. Okay? And I understand you were a little upset with some of the things we were saying. But we would like to come back and speak to you and just not be confrontational, nothing like that. We just want to talk to you, okay? But as I mentioned, our other detectives were over there and they did go into the crawl space we were talking about and
You found a dead body on the floor?
well, that appears to be what we found.
Okay.
Okay.
Now what?
Well, that's kind of up to you. That's why we're coming here to talk to you. And we're kind of to that point where obviously we're going to have an ongoing investigation, right? There's a lot of work for us to do. But now is your time. Okay? Now is your time
I don't.
to say your piece.
My
To-
piece?
to try to give us, because you're not going to have, it would be unlikely that you're going to have another opportunity to give us your side of the story.
I don't even know anything about this.
Okay?
How would I have to say my piece with what?
Well, let me just, if you don't mind me explaining this to you, can I just sort of lay it out for you?
Please.
So, and just to show you, you talked about people making things up and things being contrived and stuff like that. Well, here's the thing. We got all this information, enough to the point where a judge felt like we had grounds to write a search warrant for this crawl space. And lo and behold, we go in there and we find exactly what we were talking about.
And
Those are a lot of coincidences. And all this information, everything that we have, came from your statements. Okay?
excuse me?
It all came from your statements that were made. That's how we got all of this. Okay?
What statements were those?
You told somebody that TJ was buried in your crawl space. We didn't make this up.
I did not.
Well, we were told that.
Okay.
We were told that. And
You know what,
don't
Matt?
you think it... Hey, how about this? I'm just trying to explain to you how we got to where we got. And now we are where we feel like that we have located exactly what it was that we were questioning about. Would you like me to prove it to you?
No, I don't. I'm good. Dude, I don't know what the hell is going on. I know I've been being followed for a year, and some pretty weird stuff has been happening left and right around me. And,
And Casey, here's the deal. We're trying to be very respectful to you because we don't think that you're the primary person involved in this. We don't. That's why we're being, for lack of a better term, we're being soft. Okay? Because we don't think that you are the person who created this whole mess. Okay? But we do think you know about it. And we do think that maybe you were somehow involved in getting this under here. So this is your opportunity to decide where we're going to go with this.
I don't know anything about this.
Okay? Well, that's the problem. You can't sit and tell me that you don't know anything about it when the whole way we got here was by you telling somebody that this is what happened.
I never said anything to anybody about what you were saying I did.
So, by your assertion, somebody made up that you said that this person that you know as Uncle Carl was now buried under your crawl space, and we just go happen to find under that crawl space somebody who I am guessing is going to be Uncle Carl. That's all made up.
I mean, I didn't say that.
That's what you just told me. You just told me all that is made up.
No, yeah, all of that is made up because I didn't say that to anybody.
Well, that's not made up.
What the hell is that?
You tell me. It's under your house.
That looks like 2 pieces of wood, dude. Like,
You're right. That you are absolutely
know
right.
what's
This
going
looks like
on.
2 pieces of wood. What is this?
Do I look like I'm a criminal?
Did we say that?
No.
We didn't say that, did we?
I'm not
We never,
saying you said
we never
that.
accused you of being a criminal. We haven't made any comments.
I would
on-
like my
on
lawyer
you.
then.
That's fine. So I'm going to say my piece. You please don't say anything because you asked for a lawyer. We're going to get you booked down in our detention center. Okay?
Am I getting...
It's for your traffic warrants right now. All right? That being said, this investigation is going to continue. Okay?
That would be nice.
La evidencia física, como el cemento fresco bajo una casa, es irrefutable y rompe cualquier fachada de ignorancia que el sospechoso haya intentado mantener.
To us. So what can we do for you? How can we help you? What can we do to say?
No, you probably can't help me. I just know that I don't want these charges placed on me because I did not do this.
Okay. That's fair. Does that mean
Did
that
you look at my past by any chance?
I mean we've looked at
Around the time?
we've looked at your criminal history.
Okay, did you get to see the pictures of what my face used to look like?
I mean I've seen previous photos of you.
Of the black eye I had?
What are we getting at here?
What I'm getting at is, Leroy had me in a very bad relationship with him.
Okay. We understand that
I
there were
brought-
numerous domestic violence incidents. We definitely understand
Okay,
that.
I brought Leroy back around. I don't know why, because I thought, I don't know, to try our family again. Which didn't work, didn't end good.
So when you say you brought him back around, what do you mean?
I brought him to my new house shortly after I moved in.
Okay. Is that on Second there where we were today?
Yes.
Okay.
There was one night he was talking about him and KJ were having problems, and that he thought KJ was a rat. It was working with the fucking cops, and that it needed to be taken care of.
Okay.
And the next thing I knew, I was coming home from work. And when I got home, he was in my apartment. And KJ was already dead. In my bedroom. And he forced me to help him move KJ.
I'm sure this is very difficult for you.
No, I don't.
Do you know what had happened?
No. I know I seen a bag over KJ's head.
You saw what?
A bag.
A bag.
What kind of bag?
I don't know. It's just a bag. It's the white bags.
Like a white plastic sack.
Yeah. I don't know, like a white Walmart bag,
Like
dude.
a grocery type bag? Okay.
You know,
It's gonna take a little time.
I don't know, dude. I never thought that this would be my life. I never thought that anything that has unfolded in my life would be my life. But it is. And And it's all from a man that I just should have stayed far, far away from.
Are we talking about Leroy?
Yeah. Dude. I didn't understand. I told him I didn't want. He needed to do something else with this. That this was my home and mine and the children's home. That I didn't want. No, we're not doing that.
We're not doing what?
Because he told me, he's like, you're gonna help me put him down below, and I was like, no. I was like, no, dude. So it was the dumbest idea he ever had, on top of just killing him.
Did he say how it happened?
No. Literally, I do live next to National Security. There are holes being drilled through my wall.
Okay.
On top of this, there's been other deaths that have happened in that house that I was not aware of. Like, I've been spiritually attacked for months. I sit there over the past year. And KJ's never been someone who's constantly been in my children's life, but my children bring him up, my children talk about him.
Well, so let's, and I hate to kind of come back to something really traumatic, but let's talk about, you say Leroy made you help move KJ
He
down
said
under
he
there.
couldn't move him by himself.
Okay,
I told him I didn't want to.
okay.
I tried to leave, he grabbed my arm.
So did you guys pick him up and put him down there?
He forced me to fucking drag him.
Drag him? Was there blood anywhere?
No, I didn't see any blood anywhere.
Do you see any weapons? Like anything at all? From knives to baseball bats or
I
anything?
mean, I have weapons all over my house.
Did any of them appear to have been used?
No.
Not even a blunt object?
No.
Battery. So this bag that's around his head, was it completely covering his head? Like tied off around the neck or anything?
Yeah. It was just... there was that.
Where were you working when this, you said you'd come home from work, so where were you working at that time?
Our family tree service. I managed. I worked there for almost 4 years.
Okay. How did the cement and all that stuff get down there? I know we showed you the photograph. How did all that end up down there?
Because he thought it would be smart to cover him in cement.
Leroy did?
Yeah.
And how long did that take? Did he go and do that night? Or that day? Did he do it over the course of a few days?
I think he did it the next day.
Okay. Do you know where he got the supplies?
No.
Did he dig a hole? Did he?
He told me he dug a hole.
Okay. And then what?
No, I told him I refused to go back down there. This was his mess, and I didn't want to have anything else to do with it.
So did you ever go after dragging KJ into the crawl space, did you ever go down there?
Then I had to help move him.
Hey, Casey, look at me a second, okay? I know this is really hard. This is not easy, I know it. So take a breath, compose yourself the best you can, and just try to walk us through the whole event from you coming home and finding what you found to,
Is this gonna help me any?
well, you
That's
let me tell you this, you've made the decision to give us your side of the story. Okay, and that's a decision that you made, and you've already started down that route.
yeah.
And I think what you've explained to us for a reason. Okay?
Because I don't.
You feel like it's not your fault what happened, right?
It's not my fault.
Well, then that's why I want you to explain in as much detail as possible what happened. If you feel it's not your fault what happened, that's what you're explaining to us, is what it sounds like to me.
That doesn't sound. That still sounds pretty. Okay.
Well, we will be 100% frank with you. The charge that we are charging tonight is not going to go away. Okay. That being said, it is so important for us to have your side of the story because we will get a greater understanding of what actually happened and how involved you actually were. This is obviously a very serious situation.
I didn't want a role in it.
I know, but you ended up in it.
Yeah, because the man told me he'd hurt me if I didn't help him.
Okay, and this is what we're getting at, is these details are important. To know how you ended up in this awful situation that was not your doing.
Months prior, dude, like, Leroy put his hands on me. That's why we got in all of this. Was because he got back on drugs. And he hit me and he fucked my eye all up. And I was scared. Dude.
We believe that you were scared. We do. We believe you. We're not saying that you shouldn't have been scared. We absolutely understand. Did he make any statements to you, threats to you, anything like that when this was?
He hurt me if I didn't help him.
Okay. Was any of that ever sent through a phone call, phone conversations, anything like that? Okay.
Anybody over here?
No.
And he said that there was people outside watching the house for him. He ended up trying to use the bag on KJ, and KJ ended up getting out of it. Like I said, this lasted for hours. And the next thing I remember is he told me to go wait in the living room. Where I kind of just sat there. I was kind of scared because he said that there was people outside waiting for me if anything did happen. And then the next thing I know is it was getting time for like my kids to be waking up, and I walked in the bathroom, or in my room, and in the bathroom he was pulling on something. I think it was a wire that was attached to KJ's neck. He told me that he was going to hurt me if I didn't help him after it was done. And I don't know. I had to help him slide the body out of the bathroom. He forced me to clean up all of the fucking blood. And then I sat with that like that for probably 2 days until they came back with cement. And that's when he covered him with cement. And that's pretty much all of it. Not pretty much, that's all of it.
sure that's probably pretty difficult to go back through all that.
I've been going through it for about 5 months. Longer than that, because I've sat on top of his body for about a year.
KJ was coming over. Did you know he was coming over, or did he? Okay. Did Leroy say he was coming over?
I don't think either of us knew he was coming over.
Okay. Do you know how he got there?
I think from my Uber. I don't know. I doubt that there wasn't a car there.
Okay. Had he been driving a car or anything like that? I mean, I know
They both
a long time ago we discussed it, but it's
They
been a
both
while.
stole vehicles, that's what they did. Either of them had vehicles.
Okay. You said when KJ got there, Leroy saw him through cameras?
Yeah, I had cameras all around my house.
Okay. Is that like a web-based camera or like a recording camera? Or how did that work?
I had a Genie. So,
Was that the brand?
yeah.
So when Leroy saw that KJ was knocking at the door, what was his reaction?
He grabbed his pistol.
Okay, and is that you said the 9mm, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 9mm you guys took from me, I bought that like a month before you guys arrested
Right,
me.
no, I
So, he had his own 9mm. And he pointed it at me and he said I was going to do what he said.
So Leroy pointed a gun at you,
Yeah.
the 9mm,
Yeah.
and said, "You're gonna do what he
So I
says."
answered this door.
So you answered the door for KJ.
Yeah, he told me to bring KJ inside.
Okay. Was Leroy hiding? Was he in the back? Was he?
No, he was hiding around the corner because they entered through my back door.
Okay, so because I've been in your apartment, there's the
Can
front
we use
door.
paper?
Yeah, no one ever came to my front door.
No one ever came to the front door, okay.
So it was the back door and it was
I just want her, she could maybe draw, like, we've been in her
Okay.
apartment, but I just kind of want to know, like, what you mean, like, where he came in. Like, if you could kind of draw, like, if you're looking down on the ceiling, like, what it would have looked like as far as where he came in, where he was hiding.
back door. Here's my wall, here's my kids' room. Here's the hallway, which led to my room. He was right here. This is my front door.
Okay. And this is like where the couch and everything was?
Yep.
Okay.
Couch. Fireplace.
Okay, understood. So Leroy's hiding here. Alright, and then KJ comes in this sliding door here.
Yeah, he told me to let him in and to lock the door behind him.
Okay. And then what?
And then I brought KJ in, I'm pretty sure. I was like, hey, do you want to smoke? And that's when I walked past Leroy and Leroy had my 20 gauge in his hand.
Okay, so now at this point he doesn't have
He didn't have
the 9mm
He
anymore, he's
had
got a 20
he had
gauge
my
shotgun.
yeah.
And remind me, but that was also in the apartment, was it not?
Yes, that was mine.
Okay.
That's the one you guys have.
Yes, okay.
And he brought KJ back, told him not to do anything stupid, and told him to get off his hands and knees.
So he's pointing the gun at KJ. Okay, and what is KJ doing when he's doing that?
Kind of just standing there, I remember his look was of anger. And Leroy walked around and got behind him in the living room and told him to go back in the bedroom.
And is that your bedroom? The one that's all the way at the end of the hall? Okay. Okay. And I know this is probably really hard, okay? But after they went into the back bedroom, then what?
So I said he pretty much just tormented him for hours.
I would ask what kind of, we're talking a shotgun, right? So it's got a stock and a barrel and everything. So when you think of hitting somebody with their
butt
gun like
of it.
that, the butt of it.
Yeah.
So or maybe you could, I know you have the handcuffs on, maybe you could demonstrate that from him.
I don't know. Took it and hit him. I'm guessing probably in the face with it.
Okay. And then after that, was the door open or closed?
Closed.
Okay, so when did you see him hit KJ with a hammer?
Somewhere within those hours.
Okay.
Like I said, obviously I was really high.
Okay.
I don't know, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. When I say tormenting, I mean he was just talking a lot. I don't know that,
Leroy was?
yeah,
Okay.
to KJ.
Do you recall what kind of things he was saying?
I think he was was trying to get out of him that KJ was working with the feds.
Okay. So Leroy thought that KJ was working with the government or the police or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know we even discussed this a while back, but what made him think that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Leroy kept a whole life away from me. But I didn't know anything that didn't go on inside that house I didn't know about.
All right, so now that we've gone through that, and I'm sorry I had to back up a little bit there, but now the sun's starting to come up and kids are waking up.
Getting
It's time for them.
close to waking up.
Okay,
I
so
walked back there and all I seen was KJ on the right side of my toilet, and Leroy had a wire wrapped around his neck. My cover to my bed. He put it over him, if I'm correct.
I'm sorry.
He said it was the cover to my mattress he put over him.
Okay. The cover to your mattress. And,
Yeah.
and Leroy said he put it over him, or he did put it over him?
Yeah, he had it laying on the ground.
When you say cover to your mattress, can you just, I mean, that can be a lot of different
It
things.
was a
to different people.
white cover that you zip up to keep the mattress clean.
Okay, it's not like a comfort, like a zipped up.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear, what you would put on your mattress before you put on sheets and things like that. Is that
Yes.
that's what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And this you may not know the answer to. What do you think it was that killed KJ?
Strangulation.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was sitting there pulling on something that was attached to his neck.
Okay. So you think he was alive before that,
Yeah.
even with being hit with the
Yeah.
gun
Mallet,
and the
whatever
mallet.
it was, yeah.
Okay. What would you be basing that on, just for the purpose of our
From what I've
understanding?
seen.
Okay. Can you
The
elaborate?
wire was wrapped from Leroy's hand. He was holding it, was wrapped around my shower and went to KJ's neck.
And was KJ moving at some
No.
point? Okay. All I'm trying to understand.
Why do you think he was alive before then, though?
Okay. Thank you.
Because he was alive when I left the room.
Which room? The bedroom?
The bedroom? Because I walked out. Walked out because it was getting... I didn't want to see, I didn't want to witness any of this. I didn't want any of this.
Cassie Bach fue procesada por su rol en el encubrimiento y la alteración de evidencia. Fue sentenciada a 10 años de prisión. Por su parte, su novio, Leroy Crawford, enfrentó cargos directos por el asesinato de Cajote y 25 años de prisión. ¿Y tú? ¿Crees que Cassie ayudó a su pareja o fue obligada por él a hacerlo? ¿Y qué harías si enfrentaras una situación similar con tu pareja? Déjalo en los comentarios.